Gachiakuta volumes. Every single one of them is a banger. But what is the best volume?
Today I want to answer that. I'll be looking at the covers and contents of all 17 Gachiakuta volumes, ranking them on a tier list to see which volume really is the best, everything considered. Pretty simple concept today, though I hope you enjoyed the video, and let's get into it. Volume 1 features Rudo on the cover, and what are you gonna say? It's Rudo's series, he deserves to have the first volume, and honestly, it's a pretty cool pose. It also tells you a lot about the series. I mean, he's stylish, he's got this menacing grin on his face, it's drawn very uniquely, and you can definitely tell it's Urana's style. You get a very good hint of what the art, the fashion, etc. will be before you even open the book. But a lot actually happens in this volume, it's the first one after all. In this volume, we're of course introduced to Rudo, and we watch him get dropped from the spear. We're introduced to all the huge mysteries of the world, like the difference between the spear and the ground, Rudo's strange gloves, vital instruments, and of course you can't forget the strange masked guy who had it out for Regto and Rudo. And at the very end of this volume, we get Zanka, so pretty good volume. As for where I rank the first volume of Gachiakuta, I think it would be insanely disrespectful to not give this volume an easy and beautiful S tier. I mean, it's right there. It has literally everything. It does everything a first volume should do right on a cover and in its contents. Up next, we have the Zanka volume, or volume 2. I should have just said volume 2. But this volume, of course, shows off a character that appears a lot in this volume, Zanka. We begin the volume with Zanka's introduction as like a teacher, rival-esque character to Rudo, and we get a good feeling for his personality. This volume also features a lot of really good Rudo moments, like his moment with Gris, him doing the weird smiles, and him going on his first actual mission with the cleaners. We're introduced to Rio, one of my favorite characters, as well as Folo, another one of my favorite characters, and we even get small glimpses of Jabber, who, well, we all love Jabber, so of course that's valid. A lot does happen in this volume, but I wouldn't say it's nearly as impactful as Volume 1. When it comes to the cover though, it's again very similar to Volume 1. Do I think it's as good as Volume 1 though? No? Now on the tier list, I will not say it's as good as Volume 1. I don't think nearly as much happens as Volume 1 because, well, not as much is meant to happen. It's not the introduction volume. We get a lot of world stuff and a lot of introductions, but it's not nearly as heavy as the first volume. And when it comes to the cover, well, I think Rudo just looks cooler on his cover. So I think I'm going to give this one a, oops, that is engine. I'm going to give it a solid B tier. It's a very good middle ground. It could be cooler, but it's definitely not bad at all. Volume 3 is the cover with Engine, and this volume pretty much covers the whole entire fight between Rudo and Jabber. It's the first just complete chaos volume, and there's a lot of those in Gachiakuta. It shows the full extent of Rudo and Jabber, what they can do, what they're capable of, in the coolest way possible. We have flashbacks of Rudo and Regto, we have Jabber's really awesome claws, we get the Zanka team up, we get the reveals to Thoni, and the Watchmen series is revealed, and at the very end we even get Corvus. A lot happens in this volume. It's a very good volume, and I would say, content-wise, it definitely offers a lot more than Volume 2. But I will say when we come to the cover, Engine appears in like 7 pages. Why is he on the cover? I get it because we're trying to show off the main cast first in the volume covers, but like, I don't know. Now on the tier list over here, I do think that this cover could just be a little cooler. I mean, Engine is shown doing all this crazy stuff with his umbrella, and he's missing his mask. I really like Engine's mask, so I think that could have been here, but it's overall very okay. I think Volume 1 and 2 have cooler covers, and for that reason, I'm going to place it in B with Zanka, for the simple fact that this volume offers a little bit more content-wise, but the cover isn't as cool. Volume 4 is the Rio cover, and this is a cover that is full of short but gold moments. You have Rudo realizing more truths of his instrument. You have the choker scene, which I really like. You learn of Ammo and Penta. they fight the Scorpion Trash Beast, they meet Ammo, and of course, you can't forget, Canvas Town. That's my favorite part of this whole volume. Canvas Town is just literally the spirit of Gachiakuta in a place. Though that brings me to the cover, and I think Gremlin should have gotten this cover. I mean, it's similar to the last volume, where I think they are trying to show off the main characters first, but Gremlin is the star of this volume in my opinion. I'm tempted to give this volume a higher tier because I really like Rio, but I think everything considered, it's in the same boat as the Engine volume. We get a lot of good things and a lot of good scenes here, but it's just not as cool. So I think I'm gonna place it in the same exact spot. We have a lot of B tiers so far. And yeah, Rio's volume 4 is going in B tier. Volume 5 is the Tamsi volume, and I'm inclined to love this volume from the very start because Tamsi is one of my favorite characters in the series. And on top of that, the Penta arc happens in this volume, which is one of the craziest arcs in the series. Also, it features my favorite character in the series. Like, I love Tamsi, but this one even more, Ammo. We're introduced to her, Urana shows her and her personality off perfectly. We also see the fight against her, which Tamsi is definitely a star in. Seeing his vital instrument is really cool. Then we get the Rudo and Ammo scene, which is sad, but is just made even crazier when we then see her backstory. Which, all in all, just an amazing volume. So much happens and every single part of it is so good. I have to give this volume an automatic S tier. I don't know why it's telling me my Apple Pencil, whatever, but easy S tier. I think this volume is amazing. It shows Ammo, which is my favorite character. You have Tamsi, another favorite character, and it's just a very well put together volume. Volume 6 is another insane volume, and it's probably even better than Volume 5. A big part of that is that it features my favorite character, but more than that, it actually goes into her backstory, and this latter half of her backstory is even crazier than everything we've seen about her up to now. But not only do we learn about the Angel more, the character that had attacked Rudo in the first volume, but we see more stuff about the Watchmen series, and it's really cool. Then we get to see Rudo and Ammo make up before she's kidnapped, and we had to assume she's dead because we don't get anything else. Which, that is really crazy because you start this volume off with this horrifying backstory, you go into a very light moment where they make up, and then you're just put in despair again before Jabber just takes the boots and goes away, which, that is really messed up. But this volume also features the stuff with the attackers, which is really cool. Seeing Samiyu fight is awesome. As well as we're finally introduced to Zodil, where he kidnaps the cleaners, and all that stuff begins. All in all, insanely good volume. Probably better than Volume 5, and I like that one. This is probably the best volume so far, everything considered. And of course, since that's the case, not even gonna say it, we're gonna move past it. S tier, easy. Volume 7 features Jabber, and of course, this tells us the obvious that this volume is mainly about Zanka and Jabber's epic fight. It's not only that though, we see the beginnings of everyone else's fight, we see the beginnings of Zodil's speech, before we hop into even Zanka's backstory. A lot happens, and it's a very good volume, but I do think it is hard to read through this one A to Z because everything jumps around. For the first 2/3 of the volume, I would say it doesn't really stick to one thing. You get the Zanka and Jabber fight in one chapter, and then you'll go see what Zodil's doing, before at the very end, we leave in the middle of Zanka's backstory. I think it's a little all over the place when it comes to how it was put together. And now over here on the tier list, this, I love Purple and I really like Jabber, but I feel like this pose is just kind of boring for his character. That might be a bit crazy because Jabber's crazy, but I feel like him just sitting is, well, could have been cooler. And considering that this volume is kind of weird to read through, if I was to read only this volume, be confused because it starts in a random place, a lot of random things happen throughout it, and then it ends in the middle of a backstory. For that reason, I'm gonna give it a C tier. I don't think any volume is bad, but this one is where I would say it's a little awkward to just read. Volume 8 houses Sethone on the cover, and it picks up right where volume 7 left off, continuing and ending the Zonka flashback, which is a really good flashback. We then go back to diving into all the fights between the raiders and the cleaners, though most prominently in this volume we get Ryo versus Norde, which is such a good fight. The anime did it justice, but that's off track, where Ryo reveals her gun and just that's crazy. But my favorite part about this volume is Zodil's big speech, where he speaks about the missing Watchmen parts and how they fill in a piece of your heart, things like that, his overwhelming power, his big plan here, and it is just very crazy. It does an insanely good job cementing Zodil as a villain, and it doesn't break up as much as the other volume did. So I really like this volume contents-wise. And when we look at the cover, honestly, at first I was a bit mixed about this. I was like, why is Sethone on the cover instead of like Norde or Ryo again or Zodil? But I realized this is all happening because she teleported them in there. And now this is where things are getting revealed and it's getting insanely crazy. I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. We're in the volume before the climax section of this arc. Give it to the character that started it. Plus, giving this one a ranking now, I do think that this pose is really cool. It shows us that Sethone has like these ankle tattoos that I don't think we would have ever noticed if it wasn't for this. And we get to see her vital instrument in all its glory, as well as just the colors are really on point. I really like this volume. Do I like it as much as the first 3? No. I'm gonna give it an A tier because I think this is an amazing volume, but I think the others are better. Volume 9 contains Bundis on the cover, and as I said, this is where this arc really starts to get to its climax. The chaotic fight in the Trash Beast begins as everyone realizes, wait, we're in a Trash Beast. We get Rudo and Zodil's like mini showdown where he flips Zodil off before his friends appear and they all face off against Bundis. This volume is pure A to Z just chaos and it's really good for that reason. Though this cover, honestly, I think this cover is the most bland Gachiakuta cover so far. I mean, Bundis is just standing there and the mix of like tan, yellowish brown with slight hints of purple really isn't doing it for me. We'll make it quick and easy. I'm gonna house this volume cover right in B. Simple, easy, on to the next one. Now volume 10, well, it's Zodo. Do I even need to say anything? This is it. I don't even know what I just Okay, well, I'm destroying things. What I was saying is this is easily one of the coolest volumes in the series, and it's one I can't wait to get my hands on in English. The second it goes on sale, it will be in my hands. A lot of stuff happens in this volume as well. We get Norde's sacrifice, where we learn her backstory, which shows Zodil to be even crazier. We learn about the Watchmen, we see the Watchmen, which we still don't know anything about, by the way. We get Zodil's big explanation, he makes everything come together and his motivations are terrifying. And then we get a lot of the recovery stuff, the scene with Zonka and Rudo, and the next arc kicks off. A lot of stuff happens and it's kind of the aftermath of what the last few volumes have been. But I think Zodil being the main focus and his speech, him speaking about his motivations, and him really making himself seem unhinged in this volume, makes him the perfect candidate for volume 10. On the tier list now, his pose in this volume is perfect. Zodil is like the definition of like, he's dominating, his appearance is just demands presence. And this cover shows that. He takes up nearly the whole thing and he's stern, he's scary. And I love purple. So I'm gonna give this volume in its entirety an A. But it's gonna go first in A because while I love what happened in the volume and the cover, the first 3 are just better. Volume 11 is one of the volumes I see a lot, and it's for good reason. This is the first repeating character volume, with Rudo appearing for a second time. And it's very cool, it has him in his cleaner getup with this vacuum transformed instrument. He just looks really cool. But despite the craziest cover, this is one of the most normal volumes yet. And by that, I mean this is like the first volume where nothing crazy action-oriented happens. We learn Rudo's full name, we learn a lot about his heritage, we're introduced to the Hell Guards, and of course, the biggest thing that happens in this volume is Tamsi. We learn the Tamsi bombshell. All before at the very end, the info broker kicks off. It's a very good volume, and it's a volume that was needed. It took time to pack in a lot of information, it built up the world, but it was missing the action, but that's okay. I feel like B is perfect for this volume. I feel like that's its home, that's where it's gonna go. I said everything I wanted to say. Pretty good volume. Volume 12's cover features Fu and his vital instrument. Kinda random, but I guess he does appear a lot in this volume. Here the cleaners confront the info broker, the raiders return to also chase the info broker, and we see a lot of cool powers, like Jabber and Rio face off again, we get Fu using Hai for the first time, we're introduced to, God, why am I forgetting her name all of a sudden? Momoa. Momoa is her name, don't know how I forgot that, but we see her power and the arc keeps going, it's just beginning. I'm gonna say that overall, I'm not the biggest fan of the info broker arc. While I think all arcs in Gachiakuta are good and great, this is probably the weakest in my opinion. I know it's very big with the info it provides, and it's gonna be even bigger in the future when a lot of it's explained, but for right now, it's just not as cool as the other ones to me. But I will say, giving this cover a ranking, I really like Fu, but not my favorite volume. What do I do here? I'm gonna be that guy, be a bit controversial. I'm gonna put it in C. C rank for volume 12. Volume 13 continues the info broker arc, and this one a lot more happens. Not only is the box thing really cool, we see Rudo open the box. I really like the scene where he dwells on how he thinks of a purpose for a vital instrument. Before we see what the box transforms into, we then open the box and see the creepy note, which I guarantee this note is going to be insane when we learn what it pertains to, but for now it's kind of crazy ramblings. We get the Tamsi ammo stuff where they find ammo and Tamsi just reveals everything, which is the most insane bombshell ever. Oh, but I can't even forget that Momoa's on the cover, and Momoa gives us the big revelation about the info broker that he is some like being that's been around for so long, has infinite memories, and like he himself don't even know what he is. Though to me this cover is very alright. I think it's one of the weaker ones in the series. Like she's just standing there and her legs kind of look disjointed. I just noticed that. I understand why she would get it, she was a pretty prevalent character during this arc, but I would also argue, isn't the info broker just as prevalent if not even more? I mean, I like the info broker's design, I wanted the Monopoly Man to get a cover. Overall, I think this volume was really good in contents, and I think a lot happened that definitely puts it so much higher than other volumes, but I think the cover itself drags it down a lot for me. And for that reason, I'm gonna place it kind of like in the middle of B. These B tiers, the tiers themselves aren't even like ordered, so I don't know why I'm doing that, but that's where Momoa's volume's going. With this, we're down to our final 4 volumes, and here we have our first volume that actually has 2 characters. It features August and Aisha. And I will say, this volume, if they were going to give us any 2 random characters, I'm happy it was them, and the pose they're in, this looks so cool. It perfectly captures their characters too. I mean, August is just overexcited jumping over her, and Aisha is kind of like, oh, you're making me pose for a picture? Awkward. But this volume pretty much picks up the pieces of the last arc and starts the next one. We see Corvus and Rudo's conversation, which is a very good conversation. It's a lot of revelations. We see last of the info broker stuff, I drew a blank there. And then we begin the Folo stuff with him getting jealous and stuff before we start his arc. Overall, pretty good volume. Wraps up loose ends and starts the next arc. I really love this cover, and I think for that reason I'm gonna put it in A. There's nothing wrong with this volume's contents. It's the perfect mix of everything, and it's very interesting to read through. And the cover, even if it's not the most prevalent characters, I think are pretty cool characters, so yeah, A tier. Volume 15 seriously has potential to be our first S tier entry in a while. Volume 15 pretty much covers the entirety of the First Job arc. And the First Job, well, this arc is peak. It follows Rudo going on his first job, pretty much A to Z, with Folo and his own character journey. We see Folo's backstory and explosion before he gets his vital instrument, and it's the coolest thing ever. It's some of my favorite panels in the series. We also get a lot of cool things like Tamsi just being Tamsi. We get his infamous peak meme or whatever, and that's just, I love it. But there's also some questions that come up, like why did Corvus get all weird about the gloves and things like that. It's going to be a cool volume to look back on, and I think it's definitely one of the best in the series. And the cover itself covers Folo, and Folo just, he looks insanely cool. The perspective is cool. You got his hat flying over, he's got his hammer. The colors look great, and oh, it's such a beautiful volume. Even if I think that this pose, if a person did it, they might break their back. Why would you walk like that? I'm not complaining, it's cool, I love it. Yeah, and after saying all that, I don't even need to say it, this volume is an S tier. Like, it's easily one of my favorites, content and cover. I mean, Folo's a great character, and this volume cover is just really cool. I love the perspective. With the next volume, we're officially entering Gachiakuta's current arc, the Doll Festival. And the first volume cover of this arc, volume 16, is perfect. Like, I might say I really like volume 6, but this might be my favorite volume of the whole series so far. Though I can't really say that since the Doll Festival hasn't concluded. So this volume opens to the Doll Festival. It's magic, it's perfect, everything is crazy. And it begins. Ruto gets called up to the stage to meet Lily, and it's perfect. It's very creepy. She immediately gives off terrifying vibes. This is because we're built up to know the Choker Maker is this very mysterious being. We don't know if we can trust them or not, but the implication is that since they're so secretive, they probably are up to no good. And we're told that the second this Doll Festival happens, we're going to meet the Choker Maker. And now this is happening. And Lily is very creepy. It's a terrifying moment. But then she drops a bombshell. Not only is she insanely she's an airhead, but she gives Ruto a choker she was hiding between her. That, and then leaves him on stage with the humongous bra. And these series of events kick off what is easily the most insane arc of Gachiakuta yet. And it ends with Maimo declaring his grand plan and how the Choker Maker is being used. And I think it's just a series of events, and it's a roller coaster through a volume that is perfect. But the cover, I've barely even spoken about the cover. The cover is even better, as it shows Lily, this character we're introduced to be like a star, but she's equally as creepy. Again, as I said, she's creepier with the context. But this perspective is absolutely really cool on her volume cover, as it shows her creepy but very mesmerizing facial features. Her hair, her like winged shoulders, and the coolest part is the hat. I want a hat just like that. It's a very awesome design, and it's a Urana design. This is something you can look at and immediately know she drew. Yeah, I think after discussing it and saying all of it out loud and thinking on it, this volume is probably my favorite volume in the series so far, contents-wise and everything that happens. I mean, cover too. It's just really well put together, and so it's getting the top of S tier. Even though these aren't ranked in the tiers, it's just my favorite. With this, we reach the final volume, volume 17. And of course, it continues on with the Doll Festival's craziness. We get some awesome moments with Zanka, Rio, and Amo, but most of all, we see more of Maimo and his plan. And this is shown expertly through Gauntlet and his backstory. His backstory is also a roller coaster, and it's insanely tragic, but I think I want to make a video on him, so I don't want to speak about that yet, but just the really good backstory. And again, this volume ends with Maimo almost declaring his plan prevailing, and he's just very scary. He's being built up as this insane villain, and it's the perfect place to end a volume. But when we look at the actual cover, it finally showing Maimo, God, I hate this dude's design so much. I can't help but feel like we're not meant to love it. He's overly flashy, he's creepy, he has obnoxious hair, you look at him and he looks like an annoying Disney villain. Like, he just gets on your nerves, and he definitely does mine. Though I think what ticks me off the most about this cover, looking at it, is the color scheme. I mean, you had the gold with the blue hair, with the white jacket, with the 3 different shades of red, with just the completely normal shoes. I get he's supposed to be flashy, but what am I even looking at? But this comes to where I rank our final volume. And overall, I think the Doll Festival arc is shaping up to be the best arc in the series. And everything in this volume backs up that statement. But when it comes to the cover, it's Mimo. And Mimo is, as I said, an annoying looking Disney villain. So, this is a hard one, but I'm gonna put it in A. Well, maybe. Can I put him between A and B? No, I'm gonna put him in B because I've put way prettier covers in B, bro. Okay, that is where our final volume is going, in B. This is the final list. I'm pretty sure it's on screen, but it's kind of like, don't know what I'm doing. But with that, that is the end of the video. Speaking about all these Gachiakuta volumes and praising them and talking about what I love about them. There's a lot. And while these are the only 2 I currently own, if you want to read all the volumes, you can currently order, I think, 1 through 9 on bookstore websites. And you can read every single chapter on the website in the description, and it's very cheap to read. I support Gachiakuta officially, it deserves it. But please, let me know if you agree with my volume takes, where you would place some of these volumes, and I hope I haven't been speaking too fast and all over the place this video. This is why I write videos, because I get all over the place and I speak fast. And this was my first ever non-written video. Let me know if you want more stuff like this, more crazy, loose, non-written content. I'm scared to do it, but let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, I'll see you next time.